Hello, guys. My name is Abba Mesarsh, and I am a writer and editor for the Bundesliga Fanatic. And I thought I would make a quick video on Werder Bremen, who have gone on an improbable run in the last few games in the Bundesliga. And I just wanted to quickly talk about a few points that are behind this as a reason. So the first one is the first slide that we got here is that this is the Alexander Nuri tabella as we see it. So he's been in charge ever since match day 4 when Viktor Skripnik got fired, and in the 23 games in charge he's got the fifth most point in the Bundesliga with 35 under Werder, which would put them behind Bayern, Hoffenheim, Leipzig, and Dortmund. Now, breaking that a little bit further down, we'll actually see that most of those wins have come in the Rückrunde of the Bundesliga. So that we're going to analyze that 11-game sample size. So it started out with 4 losses to 2-1 to Dortmund and Bayern at home, and then a very tough one at Augsburg, 3-2, and then at home to Gladbach. And then since then, they've won 6 out of 7. And then we'll talk about how and why that has gone. But at that mark would be the best in the league over that span. And we'll get into the breakdown in a second. Just one picture that's going to tell the whole story is that on February 14th of 2017, according to a relegation projection, Werder Bremen had a 76% chance of getting relegated. And then as of today, April 6th, we've got the Goal Impact, who is one of the prediction sites, and they are giving Werder Bremen currently a 0.5% chance at the 16th spot and 0.1% of the 17th spot. So basically no chance of getting relegated, and their position, most likeliest position, is somewhere between 10th and 12th. So some of the credit as to who it should go to. Well, we talked about Alexander Nuri before, but players obviously should get a lot of credit. Max Kruse is one of them. He's had 8 goals in the season, but 6 of those goals have come since including in the Bayern game. So he's definitely one of the main culprits there, even though 3 of those goals have come on penalties. The other staggering fact is that in this run, 9 different Werder players have actually scored, which you really don't see too often for a team, for any team really. And it's even more interesting that Serge Gnabry, who's their leading scorer with 10 goals, has not really played since. Has been injured, so it was a couple times. So he played in the losses, but basically he's played 3 times since they've lost to Gladbach, and in those games he did win single-handedly the match against Wolfsburg for them. But others have picked up the slack, and 2 of the names that we should talk about is Finn Bartels, the 30-year-old, who's one of the very, very creative, tricky players in the Bundesliga. Had a couple of really nice goals, including a back-heeled one. And then Thomas Delaney, the winter signing from FC Copenhagen in Denmark, has obviously famously scored the hat trick, which is as Mr. Matt Harriman, my counterpart on Talking Football, pointed out, that he's never actually scored more than 2 goals at any level to begin with. And then of course he scored a hat trick against Freiburg, and then also one against goal against Mainz as well. So in terms of the players, those will be the ones getting credit. So what's perhaps more remarkable is that when you look at the advanced stats, the analytics, Werder actually have not really stood out in terms of shots numbers or shots on target and expected goals. So we're just going to explain this graph that I have up for you here on the chart. So you'll have you'll notice that the season average is through 26 games. Werder Bremen are taking 11.1 shots per game. So in the 11 matches in the Rückrunde, they're taking the exact same amount. For the season, they're allowing 15.4 shots per game. In this 11-game run, it's 14.8. So a very negligible difference so far. When it comes to shots on target, the season average for Werder Bremen is 4.38. The 11-game average is 4.27. So yet again, a negligible difference. When it comes to opponents' shots on target, 5.46 is what they concede. per game, and then in the 11 game average, it's 5. So you don't really see a big difference, and you'll see that there are incredible outliers within these, such as conceding 27 shots to Wolfsburg and somehow still coming up with a victory, where Felix Wiedwald, who has kept 3 clean sheets in this run in a row, and I think the fourth one since then, came up huge in that game and a couple of the other ones. But you'll see some other games like that where they gave up 22 shots to Dortmund, and then they lost that one with the Drobny getting a red card. So it's interesting that while they have been on this crazy run, none of their underlying numbers have shown that, and they're still a negative shots team in terms of shot difference is still -4. Shots on target is still a good almost -1, and then the third one is the expected goals for and against. So I've looked at the results here in the averages, and basically they are doing a little bit better here, but if you average out the expected goals for and against them, it's 1.15 for and 1.27 against, coming to a negative margin of negative 0.112. But you in terms of the breakdowns, you'll notice on the chart that just by expected goals, they would have won 6 of the games and lost 4 and tied 1 in that span. So that's actually very, very close to their actual point totals in that span. So it's very, very hard to see in terms of the analytics how this has happened. And then we'll talk about another picture that explains this a little bit further. So this is called the 10-game rolling shot ratios, courtesy of Clark, who runs the excellent Football in the Clouds blog. And you'll notice that from basically this is a 15-game sample size, and they are yet to break above the 50% TSR, shots on target, and shots in the box ratio. So TSR is total shots rate. So that means that they haven't really had more than half the shots in any of the games. And TSR tends to obviously rate a lot of the teams with heavy shot ratios, and Werder have not been one of them, as the 11.1 shots per game proves. Shots on target ratio, you'll also see, that actually looks a little bit better, because usually there are teams that even get way above 50%. Currently, right now, there are 7 teams in the Bundesliga that are taking half of these shots on targets in a game, and Werder Bremen are actually 5th from the bottom with 43%, with the likes of Cologne, Augsburg, Hamburg, and Darmstadt. So certainly nothing to write home about there. And you'll see that teams like Frankfurt or Freiburg, who are very much there, or even Ingolstadt, who are taking 48% of the shots on target, you'll see that they can be very, very in a very different place on the table. So that's another interesting metric that shows that although Werder have gone up there, but still they have yet to hit above the 50% in that metric as well. It's the same story with shots in the box ratio, which just measures the percentage of the shots that are taken inside the box between the two teams. So in that respect, Werder are actually 3rd from the bottom, just a little bit above Hamburger Sportverein, with 42%. But the field is a lot more bunched there. You'll see most of the teams are in the 43 to 50 range, and the only real outliers are Leipzig, Dortmund, and Bayern, who are above 62 and then 70% respectively. So, and usually what happens in analytics when we can't really explain such run, we usually point to randomness and luck, and that's actually not a bad way to go here. We've got a statistic called PDO, which some people don't really like, but it essentially measures luck. And so in this case, we can look at the 10-game PDO from matches 10 to 24, so 13, 14 game sample size in that case. And in most of those cases, Werder are 90% or higher, and especially you'll see a huge uptick from around match day 21s, around 105 to 110% in all of these. So conversion rate, shots in the box. So there is that element of luck that I think is a huge part of this success so far. So just to summarize it quickly, I mean, it's been an incredible run for Werder Bremen over the last 7 or 8 matches. And the Rückrunde started tough, but it doesn't seem like that the underlying statistical evidence supports this. But nevertheless, they have skyrocketed their way up the table, and there's different explanations that we've tried to provide, such as Cruz's goal scoring form and other people chipping in the absence of Serge Gnabry. There doesn't seem like there's tactical evidence in terms of the formation and whatnot, but young players such as Max Eggestein or even the not so young, but winter transfer Thomas Delaney have helped a lot. And also the schedule has been favorable. They've played some quite weak teams like Mainz and Darmstadt, and they've gotten lucky in a couple of close games as well. So all of that is basically responsible for Werder's incredible turnaround, which very few of us could have seen, and couple that with the excellent goalkeeping performance from Felix Wiedwald, there's a very realistic chance that Werder are actually a pretty solid team, or have a chance to be so in the next year. So this has been Abel Mesaros, and you can check out my work on the Bundesliga Fanatic, or you can follow me on Twitter at BundesPL, and hopefully we'll be making a few more videos like this one. If you liked it, share it, like it, comment it, leave a feedback, tell us what you think. Thanks a lot.